Good morning, everyone. So it's the 21st of April, and this webinar is about, would you like to win high value corporate partners in 2022? For some crazy reason, I have chosen to do this in 30 minutes, so I'm going to be galloping. You will get the slides and you will get the recording, so just sit back and relax, and we're going to dive right in. So what we promised you, we said that we would cover the key steps that make up bepartnerready.com. I've also got some great questions that some of you have put forward in when you registered, so I will address those first. If any of you have other questions and we've got time, we will cover them off. You're going to get the recording, you're going to get the slides, you'll get an amazing infographic with the steps in it. So everything you need will be sent to you. So don't worry about that. Now, corporates are not cash cows. This is the first distinction I want to share with you. The biggest thing that corporates dislike about non-profits when they approach them is they approach with their hand out wanting money. That's never been a way to approach corporates, and it's definitely not going to be a good way as we're in the middle of a recession after the pandemic. Organisations want mutual benefit. They want to know what you have to offer them, and you'll see in the process that I'm about to go through that part of what we do is identify that. So you need to get rid of all your fundraising language like donations, ask, all of that, because it's just not going to cut it in this current economic environment. Mutual benefit is the way to go. The second distinction, and by the way, we will share with you the 7 steps or the 7 benefits of a corporate partnership infographic. So this details all the different things that they can offer you. Essentially, corporates want to solve problems. That's what they're in business to do. And they love to solve societal problems. And our Conscious Consumer Report, if you haven't downloaded it already, you must download it. It's free on our website. Shows consumers demanding that companies get involved and solve social problems. So they want to be able to help you solve your societal problem. Yes, money is an important part of that, but they also have incredible resources and skills and contacts, innovative, leadership, that kind of thing. So you need to consider that when you approach a company. So this 7 benefits of a corporate partnership will help you to think about the other things that a corporate can give you. The worst thing is to think of a corporate partner as simply a line item in your budget. The next distinction is there's more than one purse. So when you think about corporates, often non-profits think about them as this big singular jelly, and there's just money to be had. So just looking at the financial aspect, there's actually 4 potential purses, and it's important that you know which purse you're targeting, or if a company approaches you, which purse they are holding. And I am horrified by how many non-profits come to me and ask me for some advice on a partnership that has come forward to them. And I say, what is the job title of the person that has approached you? And they don't know. This is the one question that you can ask that will reveal so much. So we are going to send you an infographic called the 4 purses, and it has a lot of detail in here, but the key purses are human resources purse, philanthropic purse, CSR purse, and the marketing purse. Now, the human resources purse, if you think about the job of a human resources person, it is to motivate their staff, to reduce churn, to build motivation and pride, etc. That purse potentially could be growing in the next couple of years, partly because the workforce has changed, obviously, with people working from home. So companies may be looking for alternative ways to bring their team together, and getting them behind a cause is a great way of doing it. The fact is, there's not a lot of money in this purse. As I said, it may be growing, but it's still not a big purse. And for a lot of nonprofits who don't have a lot of staff engagement, it is a pain in the ass purse, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of effort and time that you need to put in. bepartnerready.com doesn't focus on that purse. You know how to do staff engagement. You know better than anyone. The philanthropic purse, this is generally ring-fenced by a trust or a foundation, and it may have a couple of $1 million in it, but it's often sliced up into lots of tiny little pieces. And you might be lucky to get $10, $20, even $50,000. Our process does help you write a more robust submission to a philanthropic organisation or a philanthropic purse within an organisation, but it's not really designed to help you with that because you know how to do that. Obviously, the person holding the philanthropic purse, they're going to want social outcomes, but they're also possibly doing it for reputation as well. But there are legal constraints within the philanthropic purse. They're not allowed to derive a commercial benefit. So if an organisation is looking to give you a donation from their foundation and then they want you to promote the relationship, that's actually unlawful. So there's some things that you need to understand and talk to a lawyer about that particular purse. It's a complex purse, but that's an area that we don't particularly focus on. The two biggest purses that we focus on is the CSR purse and the marketing purse. So if you think about someone holding the CSR purse, what do they want from a nonprofit? Why would they partner with you? It's all about fulfilling on their CSR strategy, which can be anything within the, the UN sustainable goals. It could be one of the 20 odd goals there, or it could be just a particular goal that they've set that's aligned to their business. Often companies will set a strategy that fixes a problem that they believe they're part of, causing that problem. Not always. But the key is, if you have to pitch to this purse, you need to know what their pillars are. Because if you don't fit that purse, you're never going to get money. If you don't fit those pillars, you're never going to get money out of that purse. This is a growing purse, by the way, the CSR purse. The marketing purse is the biggest purse. It always has been. And even more now, organisations are needing to win back customers that they lost during COVID. A lot of people during COVID changed their not just brands, but they changed their consumer behaviour. They went online. And the research that I'm reading from McCrindle is suggesting they're not going back to their old ways, and partly because it ran for so long. If it was a couple of months, they might have gone back to what they did before, normal. Things have changed. So our process really helps you to target the CSR and the marketing purse, which is where the big dollars are. So you will get that infographic. The third distinction that I want to share with you is that there are two levels of readiness. There's organisational readiness and there's partner readiness. And no matter how much we can work with you, how many pitches you make, how awesome or fabulous your presentation is, if your organisation is not ready, you will fail. The reason that we put together this readiness Q&A is to help you identify if your organisation is ready. And if you're not ready, that means you get a red score. So you get either a red, amber or green. Green obviously is the go. We will not allow you to do our program because we just know it's going to fail. And we don't want people to waste their time and money going through a program only to fail at the end. So we offer calls for people who do this. I know some of you have already done the readiness Q&A and you've had a call with us and we talk through where you're weak and strong. So if you haven't done the readiness Q&A, Georgia will put the link in the chat box right now. And I think it's embedded somewhere in this presentation. So give it a go. It's a useful tool. What I'm going to do today is whiz through the key readiness factors to get you partner ready. So assuming you are organisationally ready, these are the things that we work with you on through the bepartnerready.com program. So here's one of the reasons that nonprofits fail at corporate partnerships. There's a couple of reasons. Readiness is definitely one of them. The other thing that they fail in is that they take what I call the easy, hard way. So they decide they want to pursue corporate partnerships and they take the easy way, but it makes it very hard. So what I mean by that is they, instead of actually doing all the hard work to distinguish why you want a partner, what you have to offer them, and get all of your materials ready and do your research, they go, oh no, that's too hard, goes in the too hard basket. Often it's because there's pressure from above to go and get a partner next week. So there's that pressure, and that pressure sets them up to fail. So the easy, hard way is, oh, let's get a list of prospects from the board. Let's throw a couple of slides together. I know I sound, it sounds odd, but it's amazing how many times this happens. Throw a few slides together and let's just approach these organisations. Now, if you're known to that organisation or your board is familiar with someone there, you might be lucky and get a meeting. But then the hard work begins because you can't answer the questions they ask you. You haven't thought about what you could offer them. You haven't done your research on the company. So that's when things get really hard. And this is often when I get phone calls from nonprofits and they say, oh, I've had 10 meetings with this company, or for 2 years we've been talking with this company. And I go, are you kidding me? So our process helps you to get ready and to qualify a prospect. You can tell in the very first interaction with a company using our tools and our processes whether or not they're serious or not, because it's all about the questions you ask. The hard, easy way, I'm sorry to tell you, is our way. That means 7 months of getting clear on what you have to offer, getting clear on why you want a corporate, how they can help you fulfill on your vision, mission, and purpose, doing all the hard work, doing all the research. But then when you start sending out emails to your prospects, you'll be amazed at how many respond and say, yes, we would like to meet you. And then when you meet with them, you could easily get a partnership agreement across the line in the room. No kidding, I've seen it happen, I've been there. So, yeah, so the bad news is there's work to be done at either end. I think it's better to do the work up front, because quite a number of you have said to me, you want to be more confident. And doing the tools and doing the work, confidence, because when you walk into that corporate, you know that you're ready and you're primed and ready to answer any question they have. These are the 7 steps of the bepartnerready.com process. There is an infographic that you can either download here, but we will also send it to you with the slides. So I'm going to talk it through now. If anyone has any questions at the end, I'm literally going to gallop because I've only got 15 minutes to do it, or less than that actually. But do write some questions down, and then when we get to the end, put them in the chat box for me. So the first thing that we do is we help you to get clear on your intention, because as they say, if you don't know where you're going, you'll end up somewhere else. It's incredibly amazing how many people do not know why they want a corporate partner. Oh yes, of course, money. But as I said before, that's not enough. You need to be clear on what your problem is, what problem you're solving, what problem a partner can solve for you, and how they can work with you in a mutually beneficial way. So if you're not clear about this, we've got a free exercise that you can do. Georgia will put the link in the Dropbox right now. And it's free, and there's a little video there to give you guidance. There's a little booklet, there's a template. This is so fundamental that we've decided to give it away for free. So give that a go when you've got a spare 15 minutes, download it. It'll probably take about an hour and a half. Do it with your team. It'll definitely impress the boss, whatever. Then once we've done that, we then do a SWOT. So everyone's done a SWOT analysis. Ours is a little bit different. It's a SWOT in relation to your intention. So if your intention says, this is what we want to achieve from a corporate partnership and this is why, and it gets very specific, it's a SMART goal. So it has measures against it, has time frames, it's achievable, realistic, etc. Then we say, okay, what are your strengths? They're going to help you achieve that. What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities and threats? So you get real about how ready you are. So the readiness Q&A will help you get clear on your organizational readiness. The SWOTer will help you identify where you've got some gaps, maybe internally, sometimes it's external. And then we have an action list, and you then have 7 months to work through those things, because there's no point pitching to corporates at the right time with all your ducks in a row if you haven't dealt with these issues. Even if you can't address them, you've at least discussed them. So if a corporate says to you, well, hang on a minute, we're national and you're not national, you've thought about that because you've already identified that as a potential weakness, and you can at least respond to their question. So it's a very important piece. The second thing we do is what we call an assets inventory. So assets are things that you could offer to a corporate, and it's not your brand. Your brand is a major asset, but we do that separately because it's a different process. We've worked with an incredible lady from the media and marketing space. She's a very senior executive in that space, and she's helped us to do a DIY formula where you can value your assets. It's such a juicy piece, and I don't know how any organization can pitch to a company and saying we've got assets to offer, we want mutual benefit, if you don't know what you have to offer, number one, and what that market value is. And the worst case scenario is you end up just giving it away in the heat of negotiation. You just give it away for free. So we call this the DIY asset valuation, and we believe it's a world first because we spent 3, 4 years trying to find someone who'd already created it, and we couldn't find them. So we do believe it's a world first. So a couple of years ago, we worked with the School Fun Run, an amazing organisation that addresses obesity in schools, addresses disconnection in schools, and obviously gets kids exercising and running and raising money for vital equipment. In some schools, they don't even have air conditioning, which is ridiculous. So we worked with an awesome guy called Brendan. There's a case study or a video on our website, and he had success in corporate partnerships, but then he said, you know, for the last 5-6 years, I haven't secured a partner or a sponsor. And I said, well, how do you set the price? And he said, well, I asked what I used to ask. And I said, well, what's that? And it was 150 grand or something like that. And I said, but what's the methodology for coming up with that figure? And he said, well, that's what we used to get. So that may have worked 10 years ago. It's not going to cut it in this day and age. If I'm the head of marketing for a big company and you say, well, the price tag is based on what I used to pay, that's just, it's just crazy. So the assets inventory that we did with him helped him to come up with, I'll just show you here, with his PR was valued at 530,000. His website, all the branding opportunities on his website was valued at 472. The printed material was valued at 770,000. So by putting those robust figures against it, we were able to come up with a figure. Obviously, we didn't ask for 2.5 million because that was the value, but it was good to be able to say to a company, all of these assets are valued at 2.5 million. If you were to go and buy these assets in the marketplace, this is what you'd have to pay. And we could prove it. We had the documentation to prove it. Using this process, he's now in discussion with 2 significant companies. And also last year, he signed up Nature's Way as his first big sponsor in many years. And that's got him on television now. He's also got a whole new range of him to sort of rebrand his organisation with Chase the Cheetah. The prospects list, step 3. As I said before, many organisations, they think prospects live in their boardroom. You know, they go to the board and say, have you got any contacts? We don't work like that. We say, let's come up with 7 categories that are aligned to your brand personality, the organized, you know, what you do, and we come up with about 8 categories that we go through. You end up with a think tank and you end up with a list of about 200-300. We then hone that down to a prospects list. So we start with a suspects list, prospects list, and then we go to a hot list. And then we have 2 hot lists, and I'll explain later why we have 2. One is for pitching in the February, one is pitching in the August. And then there's a lot of research to be done, but we provide all templates to help you do this. So Pet Rescue, amazing organisation that's been working with us for a couple of years through the bepartnerready.com program. They already had a great partner in Pedigree. They wanted to find new partners, but they didn't have anything that was sponsorable. So they knew they had to adopt the partnership model, because sponsorship is about directly funding something. And if you don't have, if you've got one thing and that's already sponsored, then how else do you get support? How else do you get money? How else do you get resources from the corporate sector? It's through partnership. So having worked through our process, they then signed up 2 new partners, Petstock and Woolworths. And those partners are brand aligned partners who provide untied funding. They're not sponsors of anything in particular. Greening Australia was an organisation that went through our process a few years ago. They already had some amazing partnerships with Virgin and Officeworks, but it was very tactical. It was very much based on delivery, planting trees, etc. And the reason they wanted to do our program is that they wanted to find partners at the brand level, and they would never have thought of a beauty brand in the past. But through the prospecting process, Sukin came up. They approached them with a very compelling email, and then they signed them up. So they've aligned them to the ReefAid program, but the funding is pretty much untied. Credentials presentation. This is a 15 to 20 minute slide deck. Every slide is very specific and helps the organisation to understand, helps a potential prospect understand what it is you have to offer, all the different things. So you don't go in first of all with a sell, because you really don't know what they want. And I use this metaphor of a cake shop. If you go into a cake shop, you see muffins on the shelf, and they're all, you know, pre-made, predetermined. There's a price tag on them. That's a sponsorship. But the company might want a cake. They might want a tiramisu or a lemon cake or something else. And then you use your ingredients from your larder, which is your assets inventory, to create a bespoke partnership. So the very first time you go into a pitch with a corporate, you present your credentials. You don't go in with a sell. And if a company, after you've emailed them, ever says, can you send us a proposal? The answer is no, because it just will go in the bin. You can send them a credentials presentation for sure. Here's one of the key elements of our credentials presentation. It's called a synergy chart. And we help, this is the one that Brendan used in his presentation to Nature's Way. This is the money slide. You could literally sign up a partner, a brand aligned partner. So if you're pitching to marketing people, they love this. It shows the synergy. So Nature's Way are on the left, School Fund Runner on the right, and the synergies are in the middle. If you're going to unlock marketing dollars, you've got to show marketing synergies. You can't just say, oh, well, you're a leader and we're a leader. And we, you know, we're both this and we're both that. You've got to show that marketing synergy. This is the a synergy chart that Oxfam used when they were pitching to Paddy Palin, which increased the partnership funding. And this is one that Greening Australia presented to Bluntstone. So every synergy chart is different depending on the company. Now, you can't do this if you haven't done your research. So part of our process is doing the research so that you can do this. And having done this, you can then write a really compelling email. So I always draft these first of all. Partnership model is the final step. I'm not going to go into this in too much detail because it's actually a little bit complex, but one of the things we do here is we put a value on your brand. So we have a process for valuing your brand so that you can set a minimum guarantee for the use of your brand, say in a cause-related marketing campaign. We also help you create a model, which is a sort of evolved version of your intention. And this becomes an outward-facing model. So it's one model for every corporate you present to. They love it. Corporates love the fact that you've thought about the model and the way in which you want to work with companies. And then what sits behind that is a rules set of guidelines, or we call them the rules of engagement. So who will manage the relationship? What are you going to call them? What's the minimum guarantee? If you're a federated model, how's that going to work? All of that nitty-gritty stuff that you must out up front. It's too late to do it when you've got a prospect that's hot. They're just not going to wait. Here's an example of the Greening Australia model. The minimum guarantee, which was $150,000 per year times 3 years, was actually set at the start. So their model is that we only do 3-year partnerships. So presenting this in the first meeting, companies know exactly where they stand and they really love it. December or November, actually, finalisation and review. We provide a checklist of everything you need to have done, and this is the point to get everything signed off by management and board, because you will be going out to market in February and you need to know that you have the endorsement of the board to offer the things you're offering off your assets inventory, and also that they're comfortable with the minimum guarantee. December, month off. 6 is the approach. This is when you start drafting your synergy charts on your hot list, and then you approach. So the best time to approach corporates in Australia is February, March. I will talk a little bit more about this in a moment, but the reason the program is designed to have you finish in January is so that you are pitching at the right time. Many nonprofits fail because they go at the wrong time. They go when they're told to go, when the board are pressuring them to go, or when they've lost money, or they've lost a sponsor, and they've got everything right, beautiful materials, they've done all the thinking, but they just can't get a meeting. And it's because the budget has been set. So companies who operate on a July-June financial year, the best time to talk to them is February, March, when they're discussing how to set their budget and what to spend their money on for the July financial year. That's 70% of companies. So this is your time. I won't go into that because I don't have time, but 7 is signing them up. This is where we provide MOU, we provide confidentiality agreements, we provide scenarios of what kind of response you might get to certain questions. We provide a tailored proposal so that with the brief, and we give you a brief template. So this is the whole bit where it all comes together. This bit is actually fairly simple when you've done steps 1 to 6. But the problem is most nonprofits don't do steps 1 to 6. So this becomes incredibly hard. And that goes back to the easy hard way and the hard easy way. So all of this is contained in the bepartnerready.com program, and you get calls every month, group calls where we can answer your questions. You get an explainer video, you get a booklet. Sometimes the booklets are 40 odd pages long. They're very detailed. You get templates, you get real world examples, you get a best practice example. So even though it's an online program, you get a lot of support from us. We don't just register you into the program and then bugger off. We're here for you. There's also options to come to a retreat in December, a face-to-face retreat. Yay, we can do that this year. And there's also options to purchase one-on-one time with us if you need it. Here are some testimonials from some people who've done the program: Habitat for Humanity, WWF Australia, smaller organisation, Hello Sunday Morning. We're very successful with this, Vodafone, NIB Foundation, and of course Pet Rescue. If you go to our website, you'll see heaps of testimonials for organisations that have done this process over many years. Even though it's year 2 of the online format, it's based on a process called HeartSmart that I have been refining since the year 2000. So it's had a lot of road testing, it's had a lot of real world experience and tweaking over the years. Even more, heaps. So I'm just going to talk about this timing issue, and then I'm going to address a couple of questions that came through which were awesome. Timing. February is the optimum time. The next time is August. Sorry to ask, how much time per week do we have to invest in the training? It's about 20 hours a month, that work that you have to do. Great question, Nicholas. Never apologise for any questions. I love questions. The next time to approach is August for those companies who operate on a calendar year. So it tends to be the global company. So if you're a global organisation, so we've worked with UNICEF, their key time is probably going to be more likely August. Only about 20% operate, 15-20% operate, and then there's a few odd ones, but knowing this time of year, knowing the purse that you're going for is a critical thing. So you're welcome to type some questions in here because I'm sure you have some, but I'm just going to address very quickly the questions that have come in. So really good one from Jessica. What are your thoughts on partnership tiers levels when starting a corporate partnership program, i.e. X gives you access to Y? I don't like it. I don't like it because corporates find it too prescriptive. So if you think about my cake metaphor, you have your list of ingredients, your sugar, your flour, and you create a bespoke cake. The tier thing really comes from the old sponsorship model, the gold, silver, bronze, which I dislike intensely, and so do corporates mostly. It's too prescriptive. Corporates want a bespoke partnership. So I don't like it. But you can set tiers. Some of my organisations who have a lot of different programs, they will have a partnership fee. That's the minimum guarantee for the rights to use the brand. So for a brand aligned partnership or cause related marketing, then they have a series of things that they need sponsorship for. So you can set that for sure, because you know there's a certain price tag on a sponsorship. Then you can have supporters. So you can have the partner sponsor supporter. And yes, there is an element of how much they need to pay. But if you make it too much about how much they pay, you're going back to that old model of you're only valuable to us if you give us this amount of money. A company might give you $400,000 of extraordinary expertise that is going to transform your organisation, but not a dollar. And the Seek Volunteer is a perfect example of that, which I brokered in the year 2000. Not a dollar has been spent on that partnership, but they've changed the face of volunteering by building that site and maintaining it. So we need to move away from it's just about money. Hopefully that's answered your question. Jessica, if you do the readiness Q&A, you'll have a call with us and we can talk more about that. Kathy's asked a great question. Do you think it's possible to build relationships in the same way with partners now that most meetings are online? Yeah, it's a very difficult one, isn't it? I was skeptical about Zoom, but to be honest with you, I've worked with some incredible organisations this year, both corporates and non-profits, and it's been amazing. And in fact, I think we've been more efficient and more productive because we're not wasting time flying to Sydney and all that hassle that comes with it. So you just need to be really clear on what you're saying and be more succinct, because you might have an hour and a half meeting with a corporate face-to-face, but they're not going to cut it on Zoom. They're going to want you to be fast and furious. So I think it's just about being more efficient. Tracy, has COVID changed the way organisations donate to charities? So Tracy, would you ask that question differently now that you've heard what I've said before? I don't really know how they've changed their donations because I don't really work in that space. In terms of partnerships, I think there has been a shift. I've spoken to a number of organisations recently, including Atlassian and Westpac, and they are looking at the groups of people who are now more vulnerable because of COVID. So particularly younger people. So some organisations have shifted their causes to align with that. Mental health, obviously, has now a lot of organisations are shifting their focus here. So I think maybe they're shifting their focus towards that a little bit more. I don't know if it's changed the way they do it too much. And I'm really hoping that more and more companies will step up and get involved based on our Conscious Consumer report. Kelly, final question. Kelly, what if your purpose is hard to ascertain from your business name, e.g. overcoming stereotypes and incorrect assumptions? Fantastic question, Kelly. I think if your brand doesn't explain what you do, then you need to invest in your brand. Simple as that. If you've chosen a name, and God knows why you'd choose a name that doesn't explain what you do, but maybe it's something that was chosen years ago. I'm looking at yours and I can imagine why yours was chosen. You just have to, the board have to realise that if there's stereotypes and incorrect assumptions out there, that's not the person's fault who's making the incorrect assumption. The fault lies, or the problem lies with the organisation. There are lots of organisations out there, Red Kite, for example, who changed their name many years ago. They deliberately chose a brand that doesn't say what they do, but therein lies a challenge. They have to then recognise that they need to invest in that brand because it doesn't say children's cancer, does it? Fantastic questions. Thank you so much. Let's see if there's any other questions. No. Right, I'm 3 minutes over. I apologise, but that's not bad, really. I thought it would take me longer. Does anyone have any other questions? I'm very happy to answer them. I'm just going to share a few more slides with you because there's some fantastic opportunities coming up. Do the readiness Q&A if you haven't already done it. If anyone online has done the Q&A and would like to comment about how awesome it is or whatever, please put that in the chat box. There's 2 more scholarships coming up. We've just given 2 scholarships to organisations who are going to be doing the program this year. It takes the $3,500 fee down to $500, and there's 2 more coming up. There's one with FINS, obviously for New Zealand non-profits and social enterprises, and in a week's time, F&P are offering one for Australian organisations under 10 million. So keep an eye out on your inbox for those. You might as well throw your hat in the ring because you never know, you could be the winner. What else is there? Have a look at our blogs. Our website is chock full of incredible resources. Download the infographics, check out the blogs, connect with me on LinkedIn because I do share quite a lot of information via LinkedIn, or on socials if you would like. Okay, any other questions? You will get the slides, you will get the recording. George is going to send some infographics to you. So I'll cut the recording off here. How do I do that? Anyway, Leah. Oh yeah, here we go. So thank you for listening. I'm going to stop the recording now. So if anyone has any questions, there's no recording here, so it won't be broadcast to all and sundry. Not that we will do that, but you never know where a recording ends up. Thanks very much. Great presentation as always. Thank you. I felt like I was Haley on helium, going too fast. We're looking forward to be partner of the program this year. Yep, we'd love to have you, Nicholas or Nico. You're welcome, Kelly. Does anyone else have any questions? I'm happy to answer them. Part of it. It's great. You got partnership stuck in your throat, which is fantastic. Partner, partner, partner. What did you think of the Q&A, Nicholas? Mika, you've done the Q&A. What did you think of it? I encourage everyone to do it. There you go. Shannon, we've been trying to connect with you, lovely. When are you going to call us? Thought you didn't love me anymore and I didn't hear from you. Does anyone want to be put on speaker so they can actually speak? I really like the Q&A, highlighted some obvious issues for us. So I didn't feel so alone. You're not alone, Mika. I will give you a call. Yay, thank you. I'm happy to put, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you left. I'm happy to put you on speaker if you would like to speak. It's very difficult when there's a lot of people, but if you want to speak, just say and I will put you on. I will allow you to talk. No? No worries. Okay, Nico, Mika, ciao. See you.